Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Hoyt. Right now at noon, the Senate passes a multi-billion-dollar tax, climate, and health care bill. What to expect as the measure moves its way to the House. Plus, a special session starts at our state capitol tomorrow. A THV 11 exclusive interview comes with Governor Asa Hutchinson. And rallies popping up in parts of the state as educators push for more pay. Reactions from two of those gatherings that came over the weekend. And later, demand at food banks and pantries is rising with inflation. How people are trying to get help in the face of higher costs. But first, we are settling into a summer weather pattern. It looks gorgeous out there, as you can see by shots like that, Nathan Scott. But what kind of changes are we looking at as we start this work week?
Well, good afternoon, Rolly. Got to point out the cloud behind you. You saw it building into the atmosphere. That's a cumulonimbus, or a thunderstorm that is developing well to the west of the metro. But here's what it looks like on radar. A little storm popping up just on the border of Conway County, Perry County, and it's slowly drifting its way to the east. So it may get close to Conway as we go into the next 30 minutes to around an hour. And be prepared for changing weather conditions through the course of the afternoon, as the radar will be lighting up more because it's hot and humid. Here's what future clouds and radar looks like as we go through the rest of the afternoon. There's going to be hit or miss showers and storms. Some of you will see a good soaking rain. Others will not see a drop. And remember, if you hear thunder, you're close enough to the storm to get struck by lightning and you want to head indoors. Temperatures out there right now into the low to mid 90s. So we've got a lot of heat in place, and with all that humidity, that's the trigger for showers and storms to develop with these dew points into the 70s. So just be prepared for that chance of pop-up shower storm. Highs today topping out into the mid 90s. The weather will become more unsettled going into Tuesday. I'll have more on that forecast coming up.
Nathan, thank you very much. Senate Democrats have pushed a large part of President Joe Biden's legislative agenda across the goal line with a multi-billion-dollar spending bill focused on health care, taxes, and climate change. Natalie Brand explains the final touches that are expected to come this week.
President Biden celebrated a major legislative win after Democrats' sweeping climate, health care, and tax bill passed the U.S. Senate.
A whole range of things that are really game changers for ordinary folks.
Following months of negotiations and a marathon weekend session, Vice President Kamala Harris delivered the tie-breaking vote.
The bill, as amended, is passed.
Democrats emerged exuberant.
When I look back at my service in the Senate, I'll think about this legislation as one of the most consequential things that I had the chance to work on.
Republicans exasperated.
The bill's title shows you what it is. It's an Inflation Increase Act.
The Inflation Reduction Act invests nearly $370 billion in climate and energy. It also allows Medicare to negotiate high-cost prescription drugs. The bill is estimated to lower the deficit by around $300 billion, paid for with new tax provisions, including a 15% minimum tax on large companies and increased IRS enforcement.
They're going to propose hiring 87,000 new IRS agents, and they promise you this is only going to go after the rich. You should not believe that.
The Senate showdown comes just 3 months before the midterm elections.
Since this could take a while to implement, when will people see and feel the impacts?
Some of the things they'll find quite quickly, and some of the things will take a longer time.
The legislation now heads to the U.S. House with a vote expected on Friday. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And with it headed to the House, the Senate is now adjourned for the month of August to allow members to go home and campaign. They should be back on September 6th. Here in Arkansas, lawmakers will gather at the state capitol for a special session tomorrow to determine what to do with extra money from a record surplus that developed last year. Governor Asa Hutchinson says the session will be primarily aimed at focusing on tax cuts, also creating a $150 income tax credit for low and middle income tax brackets, and to set aside $50 million for a school safety grant program. The governor thinks that agenda will be approved.
But I expect that there's broad agreement on the tax relief package and the school safety resources as well. So I expect it to go quickly and smoothly. Hopefully we will be able to get out by the end of this week.
The focus on school safety comes after the initial report from the Arkansas School Safety Commission. Hutchison says he's hoping lawmakers take $50 million from the surplus and use the money to fund that group's recommendations.
This is a start to help our local school districts meet the need if they need to have increased security, whether it's cameras or whether it's better access controls. That's what this grant program would be for, and I think it would give parents a lot of confidence in the safety of their children as they go to school.
And Hutchison says within that $50 million grant, schools should focus on threat assessment teams, mental health services, as well as other items. In a developing story, investigators in Jefferson County think a Stuttgart-based judge drowned over the weekend. Arkansas County District Court Judge Jeremiah Bucher disappeared while on an outing with family and friends. His family called 911, and then this morning, search crews found his body using sonar. His death is considered an accident, and his body has been sent to the state medical examiners for an autopsy. Detectives in North Little Rock are investigating what they're calling a suspicious death after finding a woman in a vehicle. The call came in Saturday night around 9 p.m. Officers making the discovery in the parking lot of the Hilton Garden Inn. Now, the announcement came yesterday, but police are still holding off on releasing an identity as well as a cause of death. Her body has also been taken to the state crime lab for an autopsy. Staying in North Little Rock, a North Little Rock man is in jail this morning facing a first-degree murder charge. 18-year-old Jaden Alford being held without bond in connection to the shooting death of 21-year-old Jalen Talley. This comes after North Little Rock police responded to a call about an accidental shooting yesterday at the West Scenic Apartments. That's where Talley was injured before being taken to the hospital, where he died of his injuries. Alford is the only suspect named at this time, but the investigation is still considered ongoing. Albuquerque, New Mexico's small Muslim community is living in fear after the recent killings of 4 Muslim men. Police believe the murders may be connected. The latest happened Friday night when a man was shot dead after attending a funeral for 2 other victims. Police say they're tracking down leads and looking for a car that may be linked to all of these killings. Madison Connor with our affiliate KRQE has more details.
A community mourning a string of murders now feels targeted and under threat. Pakistani immigrant Naeem Hussein was shot and killed on Friday, the 3rd Muslim man to be killed in less than 2 weeks in Albuquerque. Hussein was killed while returning from the other victim's funeral. The attacks follow a similar murder in November of last year when a 4th Muslim man, Muhammad Ahmadi, was gunned down. In a tweet Sunday, President Biden said he was angered and saddened by the killings. In what Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham has called targeted killings, Albuquerque's Muslim community is fearful of what may still come. Local leaders are trying to calm nerves.
A message of hope is always here, and that is to defeat hate. We will defeat hate.
Police on Sunday said they have identified this vehicle of interest, and officials, including Albuquerque's mayor, are pledging increased patrols around mosques.
This is a frightening time for many. We have members of our Muslim community who are afraid to participate. This is where our city must demonstrate a commitment to try and make this a safe and inclusive place in their time of need.
Among those living in fear of further attacks is Muhammad Imataz Hussein, the brother of victim Muhammad Afzal Hussein.
It's painful. We are in shock. We cannot go out of our house. My kids, whenever I step out of my room, they start crying. We didn't have any fear. Now it is super painful.
Madison Connor, CBS News, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Let's circle back here to the natural state, where teachers from across the area held a rally at the Capitol yesterday, continuing to press for pay raises as lawmakers make that return to Little Rock for this week's special session.
Capitol building, as well as in your paycheck.
This rally started with a block party from 2:30 to 4 yesterday afternoon, and then the rally taking place there on the steps, you can see, for about an hour.
In the past several years, those raises have not even near kept up with the cost of living. And we have a crisis situation on our hands.
Advocates point out that the starting pay for teachers in Arkansas is among the lowest in the region. Another group also rallied up in Northwest Arkansas, in Rogers specifically. They echoed the call to include a teacher pay raise in this week's special session. Diana Worthen is a 30-year veteran teacher. She says a pay raise would make Arkansas more competitive with the surrounding states.
What kind of workforce does Arkansas want? Okay, I would imagine we want the best workforce that we can possibly have.
More protests are planned and could happen during that special session when it kicks off tomorrow. A former professional basketball player turned STEM teacher. How an Arkansas Education Center in New York is giving new opportunities. And Nathan?
Well, Rolly, some will see showers and storms, as you can see from our view 11. A bank of clouds developing just off to the northwest. I'll have a look at live radar and talk about how long this unsettled weather will stick around coming up.